financial markets.
A banking union, well, we need it just to protect the bank customers, the depositors, and not the banks and their shareholders. So we are talking about the banking union, and then we are asking and taking from them 6.75% of their banking accounts. That's the opposite of a banking union. And what they in fact have done on Friday evening, I think it was on Saturday morning in the early hours, was to protect the equity investors, the shareholders, especially the shareholders of these two big banks in difficulties.
Now you break your deposit guarantee by pretending that confiscation is a tax. This is not a tax. This is EU theft by a fancy name. This is the very symbol and measure of your failure and your breach of faith. Former British Chancellor Lord Lawson described the euro as possibly the most reckless political adventure of the post-war era, and at that he may have been understating it. You gentlemen have presided over unemployment and hardship and poverty and misery in southern Europe on a scale which we have not seen in my lifetime. Yet you sit in your gilded offices, you draw your inflated salaries, and you fiddle while Rome burns. You have no answers to the problems of European citizens.
Social consequences of the actions of this, your beloved European projects. And it must really annoy you that these pesky little people that cause you problems, who demand referenda, even people of Cyprus are saying they want to stay on this. It must really annoy you, such a technocrat of yourself who is not elected, that the will of the people seems to be shown through. We've heard from Mr. Swoboda, the people across Europe are standing up against this product, but you are deaf to it. In the 18th and 19th century in the UK, we had people called highwaymen who would rob off the rich. In the 1980s, my teenage idol was someone called Adamant, who immortalised the dandy highwayman. Well, I think you, Mrs. Merkel and Mr. Barroso, are the highwaymen of the 21st century. But what was different from those highwaymen in the UK of the 18th and 19th century is they stole off the rich. You, Mr. Van Rompuy, steal off the poor of Europe, and you make the social situation in Europe worse and worse.